Well, it all started with The Walking Dead. Robert Kirkman and I at Skybound were trying to figure out what was going to be next, like what was going to be, The Walking Dead had become this big hit, very surprising to us, sort of the global success. And a big portion of that global success was our partnership with Fox International, and specifically our relationship with Sharon Tall. So we were at an AFI Awards luncheon, and Sharon turns to us and says, "Okay guys, well, what are we going to do next?" And Robert's like, "Well, we've been kicking around this idea of doing something, trying to treat the genre of demons and exorcism with the same degree of respect and care, the way that I did on zombies." And Sharon, in her typical fashion, said, "We're doing it, let's go." And we're like, no, we don't even know where the story's going, we're just starting to figure it out. She goes, "Doesn't matter, let's go. I'll get into the deal tomorrow." And sure enough, it took a little while to figure everything out and do the deal, but once we got really up and running, it was great, and we've been moving pretty fast ever since. The premise starts with a guy named Kyle Barnes, and Kyle Barnes is our outcast. So we meet him. He's sort of cut himself off from the world around him. He's living in a hovel in West Virginia. It's the house that he grew up in, but the water and the power has been disconnected. He basically gets by because his sister will sort of drop off groceries. He doesn't even really want to talk to her. We learn that he thinks that by being around people that bad things happen to those people. Most notably, his mother used to beat him as a child, and then he was involved in a mysterious incident. He got married and he had a kid, and there was a mysterious incident around that, and he feels that somehow he's responsible for what happened. So he feels that he's trying to be sort of, in a way, altruistic, that by living away from everybody else, he's actually protecting them from the evil that comes if he's around. And through a series of circumstances, we're going to see him sort of dragged out of his seclusion and brought back into the world. And sort of as he tries to find out whether it is him or not him, and if it is him, what can he do about it? And if it's not him, then what's happening? Honestly, we went through a pretty broad casting process, and we've been fans of Patrick's for a long time, but honestly, he wasn't necessarily the person that we all had in mind. But when Patrick came in and did his first reading, we all looked at each other, and Robert said, "I don't think I could ever imagine anybody else saying those words again, because he says it the way that I hear them written in my head." And when we heard that, and we all felt pretty much the same, we're sort of like, okay, well, we're done. We have our Kyle Barnes. Well, this was an interesting thing that we've done at Skybound, something we haven't really done before. The comic book just came out with its 14th issue, but the writing of the script and writing of the comic was happening simultaneously. So it was sort of as the idea became fully fleshed out, you started writing in both media. I think it's not just The Walking Dead that's treating genre with respect. I think The Walking Dead obviously does that and has done it very well. But I think if you look at the Game of Thrones, I think Game of Thrones has taken fantasy, a genre that had really been campy on television, and treats it with utmost respect. And I think between those two shows, you're now seeing sort of the breaking out of other genres being treated the same way with the same amount of respect. And I think that's been exciting for us. And it's really paved the way for Outcast, because there's an aspect of Outcast that in some way is easier. Most of the world believes that demonic possession is real. So as opposed to most people do not believe dragons are real, most people do not believe zombies are real, but we have in demonic possession, most people believe it's real. So we're starting from an easier place. But in a way that actually makes the bar higher for us, in that we have to treat this even with more respect, and we have to be more factual and diligent in our research. So that's what we strive to do, is we strive to put this in a way that we're going to ask the questions that I would want asked. If touching someone with a cross makes the demon howl in pain, why is that? There should be a reason for that. Is it a metal cross? Is it a wood cross? Is it crossed fingers? What about that actually works? There's certain properties that we're going to find out do work and certain properties won't work. If holy water, if it does work, why? Is it the blessing in and of itself? If the blessing's rendered in Latin, does it matter on the pronunciation of the Latin? Since Latin's a dead language, can we know that someone actually rendered the blessing correctly? So these are questions that sort of I have already when I watch all the exorcism movies that come, everything from The Exorcist to The Conjuring, two movies that I absolutely love, but I always have those questions like, how are those things possible and what degree of them being possible makes sense? And so we're going to really examine that. And then I think slowly, because it's Robert, the mythology in and of itself is going to evolve to have its own consistency inside of the Outcast world. I would say if you like The Walking Dead, this show is for you. If you like Game of Thrones, this show is for you. If you like good television, the show for you. If you do not like good television, then you will not like this show.